one of the things that I'm starting to realize as I make my first larger game is that even though you've spent 10 years learning how to code, a bunch of years learning how to do 3D, a bunch more doing pixel art, there's one thing that a game needs to have, otherwise it's not really a game, and that is it needs content. It needs to have something for you to play. It can't just be a room with enemies that you shoot at. So we've made all these systems and we have them all in place, but we still need to put them together to create content for the player to actually move through and actually play the game. Otherwise, it's just a sandbox, and that's not what we're going for. In my game, I want to make sure that there's room for player expression, even if it is just a little bit, to be able to find and equip things that you can use to slightly alter the way that you play. We've got a basic attack, but on top of that, we're also going to have mods that can alter movement abilities, and in the last few weeks, we've been working on adding secondary abilities that the player can use, like a massive barrage of missiles or a huge laser. Now, I've got all the systems in place, but there's one big problem. We need to make the abilities, and we need to make the mods, and I also need to make levels, obviously, and draw everything instead of just using a few frames from my damage animation. So our next goal really is to build out the levels. We need to do some additional animations and maybe add one or two more abilities. We also need to make a path from the start of the game to the first boss so we can really start to get a feel for how this game works as a Metroidvania, rather than just a room with a few enemies. Then I should be able to have something that I can put together for you to play and tell me if it even is any good as a Metroidvania. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're streaming development on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, 6 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, I will see you there. Hello, how are you all doing today? It is Wednesday for me. I hope it's going well for you. We have got a problem with our elevator, and I'm gonna fix it today. Basically what happened at the end of the last stream, I realized that the elevator didn't have a button. So if you like jumped off the elevator while it was running, there was no way to get it back. I made it to Wednesday already. I'm from the future, guys. And so there's no way to call it back. And so we added a button, but that button was kind of bad. Like it kind of sucked. It's still Tuesday evening. Yeah. That's how the world, because it's, you know, it spins. I'm on a part of the world that they decided that this is the next day instead of the previous day. It's kind of weird when you think about it, because it is kind of subjective. Like, where is the line where the day starts and the day ends? But yeah, so we've got an elevator that is not working. I don't know if I'm like close to the elevator. Oh, full screen. Hang on a second. Project settings, window, not full screen. And the music. Hello, Even Stevens, how are you? Probably this one, eh? Yeah. So we got this elevator here. So the problem is basically, as I was saying, you can activate the elevator and then just run off, right? Can't get back. And so we created this button. And the button is meant to only work when you are like here and there is no elevator. So in theory, you press it now, it goes green. Okay, that's great. It's working as intended. It comes back down. But if I press this again, does it work? No. Okay, so maybe it is working as expected. What the heck? It was not working at the end of the stream. Now it's green. Have I broken it now? Okay, now it's definitely not working. I think because they are decoupled, which is ideally what you want, the elevator, when it's running, it basically rejects any request. So until it reaches its stop point, it doesn't do anything. So look at the code. And what we'll do, I'll try to remember when the music, that song always gets me like clipped, gets me checked for copyright. Okay, so run elevator. If elevator tween is running, don't do it, you know? But when we interact on interactable prompt, on interactable button press, we run elevator. And on the button, I'm pretty sure when we actually do the button, we just like insta lock it, basically. We go set button state.call. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's not good. And also, I'm really not a huge fan of this code, but we'll try to persist with it. Maybe if we got a callback for this like sprite frame 1 and 0 to see if it even ran, like what we need to do rather than having it like the button state is kind of like, in theory it's fine, but like what we need to do is actually, we have the request go out, but we actually need a callback, and we need a callback and actually say like, you know, yes, we went ahead, so you can go to the call state, which basically is in that state you can't like request more. Not that it matters apparently. So when we go, when it's button state.idle, so it's, if it's here, then you can set the button state, but actually what we need to do is like request elevator. Interactable button was meant to be like less, it's meant to be like more, like I could use it for other things. So maybe we just call this request action rather than request elevator. And then we can emit the signal. But when we do button press, we emit ourselves and we get a callback from it. So interactable button. Interactable button. That's not right. Button pressed. Okay. And then if we do, we set the button state here. And that would expect a callback to do this, okay? So in the elevator then, if we can go back to that, on interactable button press, it just calls run elevator. Now we can actually just have this return a boolean, I guess, and just do nothing with it here, because that's where it's when you're actually just standing on the elevator and you want to go. I reckon. Have this return a bool, return false, return true. Okay. I guess you can just call it and have it. It's not going to cause a problem to do that. Then we can say on button pressed, this actually receives itself interactable button, not button. I'm trying to make sure that I don't just call a button, because then I'm going to get confused with like a UI button. Interact button. And then if it's requestion, bool equals, and then you say if request, then interactable button set button state to be interactable button dot button state dot call. Okay. So we do that somewhere else. We set them to idle once we reach a position. So I wonder if that's just not working. So we actually have access to both of these, and we are just calling a function on them. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It really shouldn't have issues like that at the end of the day. I need a book. What would you recommend to help learn to program Python or C++? I wish I could help you, Firefish Man, but I don't read. I literally can't read. I'm running the game. No, I don't know. I don't really read books. If anyone in the chat knows one, then, you know, shout out. Oh, see now it's... See, it gets set to the green position, always. Like, why does that set it to the green position, but it doesn't do anything? Wish I could see it. Okay, it goes green. Does it come back down? No, don't think so. I got debuggers. Thank God. Okay, set call. Error calling signal button press to callable. Node elevator on interactable button press. Method expected 1 argument, but called with 0. Ah, I forgot. When I'm actually emitting button pressed here, that we don't need to do. We're just setting the frames. We're actually not doing anything there. We're just setting the button state and then just setting the frames based on that. Okay. I don't know if that's going to help us. Let's go up first, because the other side is a little bit easier to jump off. It's green, which means it got the call back, but it's still not activated. So it's not doing anything. I guess that's the issue, isn't it? Why is it not doing anything? I gotta get rid of these warnings, eh? So button request, and then all that does is call the function run elevator. And run elevator just does this. Next position, match elevator position. So if the elevator position is top, then it goes to the bottom. We should stream when I'm awake. You start stream at 10 o'clock. For me to stream at like a reasonable time for you, it would be like, what? So like, so you have to go to bed at 10. So like, what's a reasonable time? You know, like, is it 6 p.m. or is it like 7 p.m? Like we have to roll back. Like if I start streaming at midnight, 3 a.m? 7 to 3. Our work is 7 to 3, right? Yeah. Because like if you're in Europe, it's a 9-hour difference. It's pretty tough to line it up. I've used this before. Time and date. Time zone converter. I have fiesta precisely when you should be sleeping. Yeah. If you go like Brisbane and then, I don't know, you don't have to tell me what city you are in, but like, let's just say somewhere in mainland Europe, like Berlin or whatever. It's probably in the same time zone, right? So 5:30 p.m. I guess it's pretty close because you said that. But then like, yeah, if it's like 6 p.m, yeah, it's 2:30 a.m. Yeah, that's an early one for me. I'm not gonna lie. Look, this is the green. It's so funny with Europe and Australia. It's like the green, Copenhagen. How do I change this? Edit. No. I guess just remove. Oh, search for Helsingor. Is it is it this one in English? Oh, thank you. I hate how they do that. Sonora? It doesn't work. Let's just go Copenhagen. Close enough, right? It's going to be the same time zone. Dude. It's tough, man. When did I used to stream it? I used to stream at what? Nighttime, eh? So, which was like 7 was normally what I used to stream at, which was 11 a.m. So it was like early days for you. Like in the morning or whatever. So you just like at work listening to me audio only. The only crossover is like at 6. Dude, it's brutal. Europe's pretty brutal when it comes to Australia. There's not many good times. You have Monday off when you started streaming in the afternoon. Ah, there you go. Yeah, because I've had to think about this. Like, I'm like, what if I like go to Europe and then work for an Australian company? And it's like, I hope you like waking up at 3 a.m, bitch. It's just not going to happen. You're just going to have a really weird time zones. Okay, let's look in it. What the heck this is. This ain't actually. It should have, at the very least, called the elevator. Like, print elevator code. Elevator. Oh. Like, it should make it to here at the very least. Like, why is it so busted? I need to like just make simpler code. OBS has crashed? Am I in trouble? Would you like to copy the crash log? I'm still streaming. I can see it down there. Now, I've heard that if you don't press anything, it's okay. Like, if you don't actually respond to this prompt, you just, oops, something is not right. Please wait while the crash report is being prepared. All right, I guess we'll just keep going and just ignore that. Okay. Okay, so nothing happens here. It still goes green, which it really shouldn't, so I have to look at that. And then elevator code, correct. Elevator code. I did have one where it stopped, so I know. Nothing. We can actually change the camera so we can see. Camera. And you go to zoom. Nothing happens. Okay. Will there be fall damage? No, but we should do like a long fall kind of, you lose movement, you know? We should do that. I think that's a good idea. Like you get paused for a second and you can't move. I don't think there should be damage for it though, because there's going to be plenty of, like, I don't need to punish people enough. I don't need to punish people for that. Like a stun, yeah. Run, elevate. Okay, so on interactable button pressed request, is it always returning false? Like, what's the deal? If elevator tween is running, or is it just the callback doesn't make it through? I don't understand my code. I feel like this happens all the time. Like you're obviously, like, you're working on something. This should be simple for me. Like, I shouldn't have any troubles working this out, but for some reason it is. Like, what's going on? Sorry. I don't know if I can mute. What's the problem? The elevator doesn't work. Like, when we press this button, the elevator should come back, but nothing happens. The signal isn't even being emitted. So we're not even getting like that print back. We're just, it goes to green. So what's going on actually? How come you make it go up and down then? Oh, okay, so it works when I stand on it, but when you press the button, it should go up and down as well, basically. So the idea is, like, for this button, is that if you come to a spot and there isn't an elevator, right? And you just go up, like, say we do this, right? We go up, but then, like, you come back into this room, the default position for this elevator is always at the bottom. So, like, you would have to request it. Right, or you could jump down, or vice versa. Like, if you, like, ran off it, dude, how'd that guy get there? He's still chasing me. So if you press this, it should come back, but it doesn't. And vice versa. Like, it would be a major problem for this way, especially if you don't have wall jump. You can't get up here now. You'd have to leave the room and come back to reset the elevator position. That's bad. We don't want that. And that button should do it, but it really doesn't. Green equals active, yeah, so it should be coming back, but it's not. And it's funny because, like, green basically works. You only get set green. When do you get set green? Sprite frame 1, when you get button state call. So when we set the button state here, right? Which means this must be returning true, but for some reason my print request isn't working. When is this called? Set button state call. Ah, I'm an idiot. I should be calling this function. Oh my god. That'll do it. And now it works because of course it does. We're not doing any check to make sure if it's in the right position, it'll just go. And now I don't think it'll come back, actually. I think we're just stuck here now. Because we're not doing, we never made it that far. Elevator call, okay, so it is working now. The question is, it never gets set back. It really should get set back to idle at that point, but it doesn't. So if it's green, it can't be activated. And here you can activate it. Yeah, there's some issues. State machine it? It kind of is, but the elevator isn't I mean, the elevator is kind of also has like a position state. But I don't think we're really doing it properly, if that makes sense. So we're setting the position. That's how we know where to go when this function is called. Like, just go to the opposite position. And we're setting them to idle based on whatever. But we're not setting the other one to call. So first of all, that's what we should do. And we should also probably do this in the ready function. We're setting them both to idle, which is kind of funny. Like, yeah, so we're not properly handling this state. So we're connecting it. And then we should also say like if, or just go match. You could match current position. Or even set. Do we set the elevator position? I think we do. So we go match elevator position. And then if elevator position, if it is capital elevator position dot bottom, then the top button is set to idle. And I'm lazy, so I'm going to copy. And the elevator position dot top, it's the inverse. It's the bottom button. So, and then the inverse is true as well. If you could make a moving platform node and a button node, these could be universal and just signal each other. They are. I mean, you could signal here instead of calling directly, for sure. That's an option. But we are just calling it directly. And I think that's better because like signal up, call down. So the buttons are technically children of the elevator. So like you would have like state issues if you were signaling back, I think. And so they get set to be the inverse, right? So then you can only call one depending on what's like actually active at the time. No signaling back. No, we don't signal back. That's a no-no. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, so if we're bottom, then we need to do both, basically. Should probably create a function for this. Set elevator button position. It's going to take an elevator position, which is of elevator position, and then we can just do the match here. And instead of matching that, we'll match this, and then we'll call this function instead, set elevator button state, and we'll pass in elevator position. And same down here. Next position. The elevator is not really standalone now. It needs a top and a bottom button. A toggle function would suffice. I'm just throwing thoughts. It has both, technically. Yeah, but when would you not need a button? Like, in what situation would you not need a button? I'm trying to think. It's a valid point. It is built in. The button doesn't rely on the elevator, but the elevator does rely on the button existing. So like if I, for whatever reason, removed those, if they didn't exist or they weren't set, you would instantly hit like an error here. Elevator always needs a button. Yeah. Pretty much always. Pretty much always. So here do we set the next position? Or do we set the interactable button dot set state? I feel like if we do next position, then we're not. It has to be like the correct set elevator state, elevator position. Like we have to be setting it to the elevator position, not the next position, because we're not there yet. Or is this in the wrong spot? Should this be here where we set elevator position to be the next position? Or we need a callback, right? When it's actually finished, we need to unlock the elevator buttons, right? Not here, but actually like when it's finished. And is there a signal that we can take from the tween to get that information? Is finished. Emitted when the tween is finished tweening. Never emitted when the tween is set to infinite loop. Okay, well that's easy. So here we can actually just go elevator tween dot finished dot connect. Is it always created? Yes, it is created. So I don't know. Connect set elevator button state, and then can we bind? What do we bind here? Forget how to do it. But what if there's a middle floor? Then you need to add it in. How could you make it modular? If you could have like multiple positions, you know, what we could do is we could have a number associated with the button, right? So you could have like a position, because this right now it's just set to top and bottom. So button pressed in sprite cut in its idle state, right? But you could have it like another exporter knob. You could have it set to like button position, I guess, or like elevator position, elevator. I guess it 5 and 3 floors exactly. Yeah, we need multiple floors using the same exact node. How can it be possible? We create a button. We just give it an index, right? And it's an int, and it'll be equal to 0, right? And these can work easily by just setting the position of each one. So if this is 1, then the other one, if this is 0, then it'll go to 0. And then if it's 1, it's equal to 1. The only issue is that the elevator doesn't go to any position. So the elevator only goes up or down. It doesn't have multi-position settings. A dictionary with a key, floor number, value position. That's an interesting proposition. Are we getting beyond the scope? So we only have like top or bottom, basically. Elevator position, bottom or top. It's just an enum. So in order to change this, we have to completely like restart with this, which is fine. Elevator position. This would be like not, it'd just be like an integer, right? So like to give you an idea about how we're doing this is we're just using path follow, right? So path follow is just, it's either 1, which would be fully gone, or 0. Fully down, but like theoretically it could be 0.5 as well, which now that I think about it means that the position needs to be a float. So this is not an integer, it's actually a float. Yeah, we'll give it an index. It can still be float then. Won't you need a way to input what floor you want, or is it just go up, go down? You would just go next. So you would need to know within the elevator all the different positions. But if you had the buttons, you can use the buttons as like a way to tell where to stop, right? Nodes. Oh, you use a marker? Yeah, we're gonna use the buttons as markers. It's a node. Buttons, and then you have like, you can have this set to 0 and this is set to 1. So for this one, it's pretty easy. And then basically we can get position. So we may need to ditch this elevator enum here. And then duration is fine. Obviously that works the same way. Then you have top button, bottom button. We don't need that anymore, but we do need to loop through and connect these buttons. So we do probably want an export, right? An export for buttons. It's just a node 2D. But now with the buttons as children, you can't edit them when using that node multiple times. Sure you can. It's just how you build it, right? So if you build in an elevator is going to come, but you can just have as many as you want, right? And if it has none, then it doesn't do anything. I got a Prime Video ad to go to Australia. No, I mean, I guess it's just like Amazon doing its thing. Yeah, you make it editable. Yeah. That's generally how I do things like this. Like you just make it an editable child and then you just add the buttons that you want. To me, it's always been pretty straightforward when you do stuff like that. So, this is cranky. Let's just comment out all the crankiness. But when you change the main node, would you have to change it manually? I don't understand what you mean. Like, what you mean? Like this one here? So we get a function. Or does the inheritance still work when you make the meta tool? Yep. Yeah, because what we're going to do is just loop through this and get all the positions. So we're going to get button positions. And then we'll just say like buttons. So node 2D. And then we'll go for I in children in buttons.getChildren, right? And then we'll say I.connect. I should also specify this as I interactable button. Godot doesn't like this, but it works. And then you say I.button pressed.connect to this function all the way down here. Okay, so we're connecting to that. And then we're also going to create like an array, I guess, of button positions. Or is it just dumb like that? No, we'll create an array of button positions, right? I'm sure there's better ways you can do this. Like, I don't doubt you. This is an array. I guess it's a floats, I guess. Button positions. I.index. So button positions dot append I dot index. Right, so now we're just gonna have a list of different indexes, and when you press the thing, you're gonna set the current index to be like the first one you find. So bottom would be first, and then that way you can say that. I mean, I guess you could just, yeah, then you can say current position, because we do need that. Do we have that? We've got elevator position. Yeah, I guess we bring back, what have we got? Button positions array, button positions. And then we'll have a current position as a float, right? And then we'll set that to be current position equals button positions dot just 0, right? Dot front. Does that just give you the first one? Returns the first element in the array. If the array is empty, it fails and returns null. Okay, great. Can't type in chat. YouTube chat is still broken. Sorry, YouTube. YouTube, drop in the chat. Drop a chat. I don't know. Everything is broken. My computer's going haywire. Okay, so yeah, we'll just be the first position, right? And then I guess we'll just run it, but like, test. Evan Lilly is in the chat. Even Steven is in the chat. We're doing a roll call. It works. Our current position to front. Okay. So we set it just to be the first one in the child list, right? And then that's fine. We've got a bunch of positions. Now, we've got to decide what to do when you get when you run the elevator, right? We're probably going to need a position to be passed in. Or it's probably better because here I was just getting the next position here. But we probably just need to like set the next position, right? So if it takes the next position, we probably want to have this be like the index rather than yeah, that's probably, we're going to have button positions, but we also want to have like, maybe like you said, like a dictionary. I don't really like using a dictionary here. I'd rather it just be like an array of positions and then we get that. Could we just like get the count and then get the child and find, but that would probably work, right? It might be a bit unpredictable. It would rely on the positions not being in order. That's the issue here. If you stuff this order up, it's dependent on the order of these children, which is not ideal. So you probably want to like manipulate that and put them in order. Or maybe you could just like work out what the next closest one is. Who would have thought an elevator would be so complicated if you wanted to have more than one position? But I would say, yeah, you probably just want a list of positions. You probably want to put both button positions in order. There's going to be a disconnect between like no, because we're just using the progress, so that's fine for the actual buttons. They're just going to emit the value that it needs to be and it'll go to it, right? So it should be fine in that regard, like in terms of just using a float value for that. And then the question is, when you actually just stand on the elevator and press up, where does it go? You know? And also, we just take the up or down. We don't take... So the way that interactions work in this game is that there is no like up or down. There's just you press up to interact with something, and that's like an active point. So it was kind of easy when it was just 2 points. It's like you flip between like, you know, up or down. That's it. But if you have multiple points, the only option you have is to cycle through. So you would need to go to like... not that we even have multiple positions. You have to make a way to assign a floor num to the buttons. I mean, that's essentially what these indexes are. So that's not an issue. It's more just like, are you going to have 1 or 2 buttons? One for up, one for down. Exactly. Like you start having the problem with the actual elevator as being like, it's going to be in an up state or a down state. And then just use an array so it keeps the order, and you have 2 functions, move up 1 floor, move down 1 floor, and update the index along each floor. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. But like in terms of having multiple buttons, there's not a lot of space. You're kind of limited. Like the pixel density is really low. So like here is your interact area, right? If you're standing here and you press the up button, the elevator changes position. And because it's like just 2 positions, it just goes between the 2, and you can only do that when you are like in a set position. But I guess you could have it go between. Like if you pressed it really quickly or something. What if it just get rid of those damn buttons? No, because then you get stuck on a floor, and that's really frustrating. Like either we just keep it simple and we just have a 2-position elevator, just changes the level design. You know what I mean? You would have to have multiple elevators. You'd need to have like, you'd go down and then you'd need to get off and get another one. I think Dark Souls has you walk up onto the elevator and to go down and press a level to go up. Oh, so like the second you instantly get on it, it just goes down. Interesting. We'll have to think about that. We also should probably have like a visual indicator to tell you what it's doing so that you know. So because what I'm thinking is like, okay, what if you spam it? So basically if you press up, it's going to go to the next position, right? Like we're going to need an up or a down state. So we are going to need like an elevator. We're going to need an enum. We won't call it elevator position. We'll call it elevator direction, right? And it is going to be up or down. I think down should be 0. These are constants, right? You make them capitals. You can just have one, have moving state and idle state, yeah. And then you have an up or down position. Basically, if it's in the up position, when you're pressing that interact key, you're looping through until you get to the top. And then when you get to the top, it flips to the down position. And then when you're pressing it, it goes down until it reaches the down position. And like, yeah, you have to spam it, I suppose, to get to the position that you want to get to. However, it would work, I think. It would give you a way to control that. And then we also need a visual indicator to tell us like what direction it's going to, what floor it's going to, all that kind of stuff. Toggle floors on interactable area entered signal, so you just have to step on and step off to go down again. You can have like a time delay, like if you pressed it really quickly, it flips as well. I think maybe that might be the trick. So yeah, we've got button positions. We get all the positions, but like the thing I'm not liking about, okay, we just get the positions from the buttons, then we don't really know what order they're in. So we've sorted the up or down. Right. I guess we can have like a default position. Right, bring that back. Too few arguments for run elevator. Happy? I'm just passing in a random number just to keep it happy. Okay, so we have an elevated direction. Default is up, right? So we'll have to pass that in. So basically we get button positions. And what we can do with those, yeah, the question is like, now we have an array of positions, but like what order are they in? And can we get the index? We probably need to keep track of like what one we're on and then just go to the next index. So we can also get a count probably of different indices. We've got a position, we've got an array. And then we can, so if we have an array of indexes, then we can just look up the button positions from that. Being lazy, we just let the elevator oscillate and not worry about buttons. Yeah. Button position, current position is afloat. This is actually button positions, button indexes, right? We're just going to get it from the children of this. No, but then you don't want that. You do want it to be like in order. So yeah, button positions is an array, right? But we can sort that because it's an array of floats. So we can, at the end of this, we can just say button positions dot sort. Right? I'm pretty sure that'll just come out from lowest to highest. Oh man, I really gotta go to the toilet. And can I switch to be right back? I can. Watch Angel. I survived. Get the right one. Okay, yeah. So the question is, what do we do here? Because we've got button positions. Do we sort them into 0 to whatever position they go to? Current position equals button position dot front. Okay. But then we just need to cycle through them, which means we need an index. We can just get that on the fly, I guess. You don't really need to keep track of that. You can just get index from the array that you're currently on for the current position. Okay. We never worked out what sort, if sort actually goes ascending order. Prints 2.55. Okay, so it does go in ascending. Okay. That's good. So now we're going to have a bunch of button positions. Then we jump on when we interact with the button, we need to probably get the next position, right? And then, so if we're in the up, we need to get the one above. If we're in the down, we need to get the one below, and then basically go from there. So we probably need a function. So we've got get button positions. We've got so much stuff here. I'm going to pop this out so I can see it a bit more. So set elevator state, we probably still need to get that, but we'll just do it from scratch, eh? It'll be better that way. When elevator finished, there is already a connect. Okay, so we can do that. Okay, so we've already got that. Yeah, okay. Keep that there. Elevator finished. Interactable body entered. If body is interact prompt show, that's fine. Or an interactable button body exited, hide prompt. Okay, happy, happy, happy. Or an interactable interacted. So this is when you're standing on the elevator. It just says run elevator. We probably need to get next position. So we create a function, right? Get next position. And it's going to just be, doesn't take anything. We'll just run off public variables and it will return probably a float, right? So next position is a float and it's equal to get next position. Right, and then next position, I'm getting tired of writing position, next pos equals a float, equal to 0, turn next pos. Okay. And then you pass in that to run an elevator. So then we just go, we get the current index, which is an int, and it's going to be button positions dot find, right? And then you pass in the current position. Is it? Oh no, that's the current. It's current position, right? And then next pos will actually be equal to. So I guess we just need to match, right? So then we do like a match for current direction. Elevator duration, elevator direction. And if it is set to up, then we go current index plus 1 equals max current index plus 1 or button positions dot size plus 1 minus 1, right? Because that doesn't work like the actual array sizes anyway. And then if it's down, you do the minimum. So minus 1. And then button size 0. The other option is 0. It just doesn't go into the negative. Okay, easy, easy, easy. And then I guess we also want to say here that if current index is equal to button position size dot 1 dot size minus 1, then the elevator direction is going to be set to down for the next time you press it. And then if it's equal to 0, elif, I guess you could do it here. You could do that check here. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Current index is equal to 0. then it's going to be equal to up. So it'll just flip in theory. Okay, so we're getting a position and we're going to return that position. I don't think there's anything else to consider. Then we run the elevator, we go to that position. So the run elevator has got the next position as a float. So we can just tween that to the next position for the duration. So that's like 5 seconds in this case. I don't think it can be any longer than that. Now we do that. And if it's running, we can't do the next position. So we actually need to do this check if elevator tween is running up here. Because if we don't really want to be changing positions while the elevator is running. Your brain is wired for that error. I would just let the elevator oscillate the 1 megahertz. So this check needs to happen before this. So when you try to interact, however, good night, Fresh, good night, NA. On life's elevations, we're trying and failing, actually. Micho Luvo. Waiting for the series of moving elevators is always a good obstacle for chamber. Next stage, add enemies to the mix. Oh yeah, just like throw a couple of enemies down there. When you press the button, just like spawn one. Get next position. I mean, in theory, this should work, right? Oh, I know what you meant, much. I read it poorly because I thought it'd be funny. How goes it? It goes okay. Elevator Action was a wonderful game. I never played it. Elevator Action. Good night. Good night. Elevator Action? NES game. Oh, okay, cool. We can play it. Is a 1983 shooter platformer. Dude, look at those graphics, man. Put a lot of quarters into Elevator Action. Damn. Probably a better game than what I'm making. I've never played it. I have to give it a go. I really like, my favorite NES game was probably Double Dragon. But like the NES is a bit before my time. So like I was only playing it at friends' houses if they happened to have one, like if they had older siblings or whatever. And then like I had a friend that had a NES and we would play Double Dragon on it. Almost finished it. NES was your first console? Nice. Lost our savings. You could have been investing into a high interest account, or you could have been investing, what do they call it, into an ETF, but instead you are spending your quarters on on Elevator Action. Okay, so we're getting the next position. We're gonna run this. We've got that, and then, okay, so happy days, the elevator runs. Now, what happens when you press the button, interactable button? Here, we need to do a request for run elevator, right? So I guess this is our new get next position. What is it? Interactable this needs to be a function rather than just hanging out in this. Same problem as before. This whole combination, because we need to call it in multiple places. Oh, the TMT. Simpsons Arcade. I haven't played it. Yeah, arcade, my parents would never let me. And then they sort of went out of fashion by the time I was old enough to be able to do that. So yeah, request elevator. Right. And then it actually returns a bool. Right, we take all of this, lock it in here. And this requests elevator. Yep. And it returns false. Otherwise it returns true. How much do they cost now? I haven't been to one in ages. Like the one in my city, you just pay like a time fee. You pay for like an hour and they give you like a thing that can just play any game for like an hour. If it's still there, I haven't checked in ages. Some are $1. Like how much does time zone cost for like an hour? You worked in the arcade, had all the keys, both machines, caused a lot of fighting. I had to keep them near the station. Fights over Mikey and Bart. Time play, 60 minutes costs $35. Honestly, not that bad. Not that arcade games are like... When I started working in games, I stopped playing games as much. Yeah, fair enough. I probably spend... I try to now. I got like a... What was really helpful for me is I bought like a handheld gaming device. So I got this. It's in front of me. There's two reasons I got it. There's twofold, right? I got this little this yellow thing. It's yellow even though it doesn't. And this just runs Android and you can just like play on emulators and stuff. And that helps like separate the two. So now, cause like when I'm on my computer, I have a tendency to like, just want to, I'll just open up this or like, I'll be editing or whatever. And so it separates the work and the play for me. Probably different if you're like actually have a job in the gaming industry, cause then you're going to like a workstation. But that is like just after dinner, I have a coffee and like maybe for an hour I'll play. I use my Switch like that. Yeah, it makes, you got to separate the workspace from the play space, which is really helpful. And the plan is to eventually like use that when I take this around to people to test like at meetups and stuff. Playing games feels like work now. If I play multiplayer games, it feels less like work. Okay. In AAA for 17 years, I tend not to want to play the games I work on. Yeah. Just play Elevator Arcade on NES. Download a NES emulator. Get that going. Okay. Interact Pro Elevator finished. Okay, well, I'm lost. Interact body entered. If player what code? I'm still in the elevator. Okay, so on interactable button press, we're gonna request we want to call request elevator. And if you are requesting an elevator, you need to have a position. Right? So it's actually fundamentally different. Now that I think about it, because the whole point of this adventure was to be like, hey, can we have as many buttons as we want? So you want to have like Is it going to be a finite state machine or a statement jungle? It's a statement jungle, my friend. It's stateless, actually. It has no idea what it's doing. It just gets sent to the next position. It just loops through the positions until it lands on one. So it just, when you press the button, it has a state. So I guess request elevator has like, if this is going to be used for both, or hear me out. We have a separate function. So this is really just like, we can just run this here on interacted. The request elevator takes an index, right? Which is an int. No, actually it's a float. This is confusing. So this actually should be a position, but not actually position because that's a taken word. Can't use that. Elevator position, right? If you request an elevator, then obviously you check if it's running, right? And you return false. In fact, here you don't need to return anything. And then if that's not true, then you need to set the see this get next position? You need to set the current index to be the index of the thing. So for this position, you need to say that so do we get the current index button positions dot find so this is the button positions dot find current position. We have to set the current position, right? Current position equals do we ever set that anywhere else? I might have forgotten about that variable. Current position equals front. Current index max. We go up one. Next position. Right, so now that we've got the next position, we run the elevator, and when it's finished, we need to like set the next position. So we're gonna get that next position. I always happen to forget to learn coding. It's okay, it just takes time. And then we connect. Can we bind something to this? Dot bind? And can we do that? Can we do that? Can we do the next position? Right? On elevator finish dot bind next position. And then when we on elevator finish go next position as a float, and we set the current position to that. Okay. So that's how we set the current position. Then here we are going to just run the elevator to that position that we're calling. And then it'll get set. So we just go run elevator, right? We know what we want to go to. The next position is the elevator position. And then we have to return true. Okay, what a mess of a, what did I call this? Request elevator. It takes a position, which is this, index. Okay. Interactable set button state, if request, yes, okay. So it gets set to inactive, basically. So it's been called. And everything else is set to idle, I guess, but like we're not doing anything with that. Okay, let's see how much I didn't remember. Annie learns arrays next. I have an array right here of button positions. I feel like I'm severely underthinking this. Where's facility entry 2? Okay, so we got the bottom button, the index is 0. The top button, the index is 1. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it works. It probably won't. I feel like So if we go up, elevator core doesn't even do anything. Hello. That's so funny. Next position, get next position. Got a breakpoint there. Okay, so next position is 0. Why did that happen? Get next position. Next position equals 0. Current position, current index. Do I set next position? Am I an idiot? Dude. I think I might have forgot to set the next position. The current index, right? So what you need to do is you need to get, so the next position is going to be equal to the button position's current index. It really should be called next index. But whatever. And then it takes like a second. Okay. Out of bounds index on 0 array. Okay, so I just broke it now. Current index is 0. Elevator button positions array 0. Great. That's also a problem. Get children internet connect button position dot I append. Okay, let's try that again. I'm not calling that function. Classic mistake. Okay. That's an interesting error. Did we load up 2 rooms just now? How did that happen? I'll have to keep an eye out for that bug. What? I should have checked on that. Elevator here. Button positions. Okay, now we have multiple button positions, so this should calculate correctly. We got a breakpoint. The next position is 1. Okay, so we're cooking now. I smell incoming singleton. No way. Okay, so it works on its own just fine. Now the question is, what do these do? That does nothing. Oh, we're getting an error. I do know why. Singleton for this? No, a singleton for the reason we're having errors, probably. So the reason that didn't work is because I never set up the buttons to actually communicate properly based on the changes that we made. So we're emitting ourselves. You know what? If we emit ourselves, we really don't need to emit the elevator position because it's inside this interactable button. I don't think it's called that. I think it's called index. Okay. Oh my god, how many times do I have to play this song? Gonna get clipped. It's a banger of a song, but it's like copyrighted, so. Okay, so elevator called. And now it's running. So it is just going to this position. They're never getting set back. So I'll never be able to call from here again. They're getting set into the active state and never getting returned back to the inactive state. So let's just test to see in like an absolute best case scenario it's being used correctly, which is here. Hey, Cake Hug, what's going on? So let's just zoom out so that we can be 100% sure that it's definitely in position. Okay, so so that works, which is great. So that's really positive. But now we're getting a bit, can't talk. Now we're getting out of bounds index. Bake a 2D array with ones all the way around the edge and zeros in the middle. That's actually pretty hard, eh? A 2D array. You guys can't hear the banger music that's playing, but it's banger. What is this song called? I can't remember. Super September. It's finished now. Okay, so we're making progress. This is actually good news. Because obviously the out of bounds index on the array, on base array. So we tried to go to 2, but like it didn't exist. So there's some issues when it comes to keeping track of whether or not we need to go up or down. So I'd say that didn't get set. And then other than that, we need to actually turn these elevator buttons back to being active once they're finished moving. So that's the other thing we're not doing. So, okay, so when we're getting the next position, when we request elevator, we just run elevator, right? We don't actually set, we don't do this here, which is like checking to see what direction the elevator is going in. So we probably need to keep track of that when we do request the elevator, because otherwise, once it reaches its top position, if you happen to be at the top position, the next position is going to be like wrong, right? And also, we're not even setting like the next position, right? So I guess it's fine because we're binding it in the run elevator. So we're going to set, like, if you call run elevator, the next position is going to be correct. And it did actually find the correct position because it tried to go to the next position after that. It tried to go to 2, right? Because we go +1. And there is nothing there, right? It shouldn't have been able to do that though. Now that I think about it, it should have just it should have crapped out. It shouldn't have crapped out. It should have just gone to like the top position, not 2. So button position.size, we're going max, but actually should it be minimum? This should be max, and this should be min. You raised me up. It was like I forget the name of the song. It's old. It's an old song. It's like from the 70s or something. It's really popular though, I think. All I know is that like I remember hearing it and then I'm like, will I get copyrighted struck for this? Because it's like not actually the song, it's just a cover. And then like, yes, I got copyright struck for that. And then now every time I hear it, I have to turn it off. Not that a copyright strike is not that serious, but Okay, so, okay, in theory that should be fine then. So let's see if I can break it again. Just ignore him. And we go up, up, up. Okay, wait for that to go down. I should like do a printout so I know it's at the bottom. And then we can call the elevator. And now you just have to, now, okay, so now it won't ever go down. Okay, yeah, we have to like step on it twice to make it go the other way. Because it gets a bit confused. I imagine it's the same here. It is working better than what it was previously. You have to wait 5 seconds and then it'll go again. There it is. Okay, so yeah, what we need to do is just check. When we're actually requesting the elevator, to see if the next position is the end position, change the direction, right? So this check here, do we make this a function? Set direction, set elevator direction. Yes and no. Check. Okay, set elevator direction. We just want to set it like it's just going to be elevator direction, and it returns a void, and then you just go elevator direction. The variable, man. Just give me the variable. Is equal to dir, right? And then here, elevator direction, set elevator direction. That actually doesn't help me that much. I know I'm going to need this in a second. So guess I'm just going to do this. And here we also, do we need to do a check to see if like the current index, like we kind of just need to do this. But then we're like working out the next position based on the current index. We're finding the current position, we're going to the next one. But this one we're just overriding and going to that index. So, get next position. Here, we pass in a position. Button positions. Current index. No, that's not going to work either. Because it just increments it. So we can't really recycle this function and make it work for both. I don't want to write 2 though. It's working. I just need to work out if we need to change the elevator direction based on its current index. So realistically, we just get the current index for the, I guess, next index. Debbie Downer asks, are you factoring in more than one working at the same time? Usually I have sets of 3 for everything inside a scene called gym elevators. Sets of 3. I'm only doing 2, but I am trying to make it so that it can work with any number of positions. I think what we do, right, is we, on elevator finished, we set the next position, and then we're going to do a check, or like checking the direction. what I want to do is just go create a function called check direction or check set direction. Check end. Check direction, whatever. And it takes a position, which is a float. And then we go void, right? And then we can just go var current index. We do the same exact pattern. We're going to take this and we're going to separate it out. So we're going to get the index, right? Same exact thing. And then here we're going to go this pattern here. If current index is button position size -1, then direction down, right? I guess we could use, but we're going to use pause. Okay. And then when we're finished, we're going to go check direction and pass in current position. Now we no longer have to do that here. Okay, so that gets a bit better. Check direction happens here. And then we can also, when we request the elevator, I mean, it's always going to happen when it finishes. When the elevator finishes, you do that check. So we're good to go. Right, so we don't have to add anything else. Nice. Dun, dun, dun. Elevator is called. And it's here. And then we go down. Hey, now things are working. Now, can it handle 3? So this here is an issue, I guess. We just called it to the same position. So I think it's kind of cooked if you do that, right? Like this button gets locked out. So we probably need to, once it's finished, do like a call out to the children to say that you can press the button again. We're not doing that yet. That's one of the other things we're not doing here. So let's just take care of that and then we can stress test with multiple elevator positions to see what happens. I press the button. Okay. Also, I just want to print out when it finishes so I don't have to worry about waiting. I can see. Anyway, it's okay. So once it's finished, we probably want to do a call out to all the buttons to say that you're active again. So what we'll do is on elevator finished, do we have a function? Set buttons active. Or this is an interactable button. What is a button? Interact buttons. Then .get children. Then set button state. Interact button dot button state dot idle. Okay. So they get set active. So when the elevator is finished, we can set button active. Set buttons active. Okay, so now they'll work no matter what. And then the only other thing that kind of annoys me is that if you request that position, if it is the position that you're already at, it should get rejected. So where's that function? Request elevator. If current position is equal to elevator position, then return false. I guess I could just return... Oh, whatever. Just do it this way. Like return elevator position equals elevator position. Current position equals that? I don't know. So let's just make sure that we can get up. Everything is working. Elevator called. I need to put a time delay on this look up, look down. Okay, and now I can't call when I'm sitting here. I also can't call until it finishes, but I think that's okay. That's not the end of the world. Okay, let's test out a third position. Put it over here somewhere. Okay. Interact button. Drop that there. Put that like here. Give it an index of 0.5. Excuse me. Now, we do actually, I said 0.5. We do need to know the actual interval. So we need to go path follow and find out what the progress ratio is here. Looks like it's going to be 0.6, actually. It's like 1 pixel off. Come on, man. We're going to get caught on that. You know what? I actually think the sprite is 1 pixel above the collision shape, so I think that's okay. So yeah, it's 0.6 for this one. I wonder if there's a way that you can just like estimate where it is along the path. Or do you have multiple points? I don't know. I don't know which was better. Let's see what happens. Should just, you know, it's going to go slower too. This is traveling a shorter distance for the same amount of time. And we go up again. And now it should go down. Actually, let's go to the next. Happy days. Now the only thing that I want to do is add like a time. If you press the button while it's moving, it'll go back the way it came. That's all I want to do. I think I'm turning the interaction completely off. And then I want to think about time. Because time is another factor. I need to create a ratio that I'm happy with that will be the same amount. It requires elevator music. That'd be funny, actually. So, yeah, the ultimate question now is like, yeah, well, it's not the ultimate question. It's like, let's just, can we alternate positions? So if you want to go up when you're in the middle position, you can do that pretty easily. Like I said, the directional keys don't do anything here. Up is just the interact button. Like you're just, essentially, if interact was spacebar, that's what you would press. It just happens to be up, so you can't confuse that. So when we interact, interactable body entered, exited. Where's button pressed? On interactable, interacted. Okay, so I'm not doing anything. Am I just saying that if it's running, return? So we can still interact, I guess? Unless there's something else in like in the systems that prevent that, you know, like, I don't know. I'm about to find out. But how can we say if it's running, then actually here, flip the direction and go to the next position. Now get next position, actually, it's kind of tricky because I guess we flip, we could set elevator direction and then, right, yeah, I created this function. I don't think I'm calling it anywhere, right? Oh, I am. When we're checking direction. Okay, yeah, we could set elevator direction. To be the inverse of whatever it is. How do we do that? If we do a match. Can we call that other function? Check, button position, current index. Current index isn't set yet. Button position.find pause. We have to pass in a pause. And we're not storing the next position. It's just like, not really something that we keep track of. We are storing the current position, but it doesn't get set until you're finished. Right? Current position equals next position. We could store it. And then we'd actually just be able to pass it in. No, we wouldn't, because that checks if it's like at the maximum or minimum, right? That function doesn't really work. We probably just need a flip. A function to flip the direction. Elevator direction. And then we just say match dir. And then if it's elevator direction dot up, then we return. We're gonna return something here. Direction. Turn elevator direction dot down. And if it's elevator direction dot down, I'm gonna return elevator direction dot up. Okay. And then I can just say, if it's running, we could say new direction. Or can we just set it directly? Can we go current direction? Do we have that as a variable? Elevator direction equals flip direction, elevator direction.
Tweet Caroline Bunk 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 having a great time.
Bunk Bunk Bunk. Not all code paths return a value. Return elevator direction. I guess what I need to do is like next and it's an elevator direction, and then we set that to be equal to, and it'll be happier when I do that. Return next. Okay. Argument should be elevator.ele direction, but is float. Always passing in the duration instead of the direction. It really hates that. Have I spelled elevator wrong in different places? Evelator. Yeah, I spelled it evelator. Classic. Always doing that. All right. Okay. So in theory now, it should just, when you press that button and you're on the elevator, it'll just flip. If it's running. Let's see. It goes really slow. Yeah, I have to work on the I mean, yeah, it works exactly how you would want it to, but yeah, the duration is a bit of an issue. So nothing happens here, it just comes, and then here. There could be quite the subtle bugs when there are multiple variables when expecting one. You reckon? Could you elaborate? I don't know why it doesn't stop there. I guess it's just like, oh, you need to go. Is that just because that's where it came from? So if I do this, it goes to the next position, but its current position hasn't been changed yet. Assertions can help here. You lost your streak.
I lost my streak.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Assert. I am an idiot. Returns true. Yes. There could be quite the subtle bug when there are multiple variables when expecting one. Where am I doing that? Dude, I'm so dumb. The more I do this, the more I realize I don't know. I don't know shit. It's that classic. I guess that's like something that everybody says. You know, the more you learn, the less. There's a principle. What's it called? Different elevator variables. Like here. Like match up, down. It's difficult to relay thoughts. Yeah, it is. Over text, I agree. It is a bit like that, isn't it? It can be tough. Maybe we should so we flip. So I need to organize this code so that it's like in the correct spot. Here we flip direction and then we get next position. But yeah, so that's the problem here. It just assumes you want it to go up instead of down. So if you were halfway, it wouldn't return to the next position. So when you get next position, we're just assuming that the current position, which doesn't get set until you reach your destination. So do we set that before we start moving? Do you think that would work better? So here we're waiting until we're elevator finished to set that. We could set that early. Do you think that would feel a bit nicer? Next position, current position equals next position. Next, right? And then we're binding it. We don't really need to do that. If we can flip, would that be better? I thought that there could be like elevator action and elevator. But now I think there are actually only one of them present in the code, not both. Yeah, I mean, there are two. Do we end up back here? I really want to finish the, I mean, yes, that does exactly what I want it to do now. So now it goes back up to this and we'll be able to continue. Okay. This guy's still coming for me. It's doing weird stuff in that middle one. Is it because it's going really slow? And it travels faster to this position because it's further apart. We need to work out like meters per second for the, or pixels per second, I should say, for the elevator. Otherwise, it's going to be moving different speeds depending on the distance it needs to travel now. It never mattered when it was just between two positions. Okay, let's check out the speed, right? So we said 5. And it was a distance of, how many distance was it? We sort of worked that was kind of like an okay spot when it was going between the two major positions. Now the path is 320 pixels. So what do we work out like a speed per pixel. So I said 5 seconds for that distance. Let's break out the calculator. 320 divided by 5. 64 pixels, so that's the same speed that you jump at actually, which is pretty interesting. No. Is it? I don't know. 64, that's pixels per second anyway. So that's how fast it should be moving. So we need to work out the distance that we're going and then figure out the speed to be set to that. So we can probably make that an export variable rather than duration. We can actually put speed here, elevator speed, and we make that 64 instead of 5. And now elevation, now the duration. So we need to get the duration, right? So var get duration. And then we're going to have like a distance, I guess. Figure out how to get that. What is that noise I'm hearing? Is that coming from the song? Or is that coming from something on my computer? I don't know. Okay, so get duration. Expect the end statement. Found that. I said var instead of func. Okay, so this is going to return like a float, and new duration float is equal to 0, and we're going to return it. Okay, and then we say duration, elevator duration, and it's a float, and it's equal to get duration. Okay, happy days. Now, how do we actually do this? So we need to figure out the actual distance that we're doing. So we've got the next position and we've got the current position. So we could probably work it out from that. So we can work out like start and then finish. Right, and then we go current position and next position. Current position isn't getting set to the next position until down here, so we're all good. Okay, so now we pass that in. What do? We say that the distance over time, right? So we need to work out the distance. So this is distance is equal to finish minus start. We probably need to put this in a sign so that it's like always a positive value, excuse me. This is the distance we're traveling. This isn't a ratio. That's the other issue. Like, we don't know how many pixels this is. This is not going to be like a pixel position. This is 0.6. So that number that we came up with before is incorrect. It's 5 pixels, 5 seconds per ratio, per 1. So if you were traveling half of that distance, you would need to go twice as fast, right? The duration would need to be halved. So could we just take the... Sorry, I'm processing. So you take the total time. No, because the top position could be completely different. Like if we said 5 seconds, but like it had to travel like 1,000 pixels, it would go way faster than if it was only going 300 pixels. So it does need to be like a pixel per second. But how do we work that out if it's like a ratio kind of thing? I wonder if we can find, because we're using progress ratio. Yeah, I wonder. I guess we could find the array positions. It's kind of annoying and a little bit janky because we don't know if those positions exist. Current position. We get the current index button position dot find. This is 100% just like the front position. Button positions there, it is just like a .6 or whatever. Could we get the position of the progress? Oh yeah, that's probably what we need to do, right? Start. Hey, there's probably a way of doing that, right? So if we go var start pixels, I don't know, float. If we go path 2D, path follow 2D dot get, let's see what's actually in that. I actually don't know. Path follow 2D, path follow 2D. So it has a progress ratio, right? Can we get the progress ratio, or can we get a distance along the path, the number of 0 to 1? This is just another way of expressing the progress within the path, as the offset supplied is multiple internally by the path's length. It can be set or get only if the path follow 2D is a child of path 2D, which is this set, and then it's path with a non-zero. Otherwise, trying to set this field will print an error. So we can't set it. And getting this field will return 0. Okay, interesting. But can we get that? Like, if we get the progress ratio, can we find the position, the distance? Like, can we actually get loop, progress? Oh, what if we got the length based on the path? The path 2D. We can have a path moving. Dude, there's really not. There's just the curve. It has a curve. Get baked lengths. Get point index. Get points. Get point position. Remove point. If it had multiple points, this would actually be a present. What are we trying to do? We are trying to convert. So, like, say we're trying to work out the correct speed. So right now the speed of the elevator is just set to an arbitrary distance. First message from Lost Sleep Games. Welcome to the chat. Not sure about 2D, but I know for sure you can set the progress ratio on a path follow 2D. True. And we are doing that. What I'm trying to find out is the distance that is in pixels so that I can work out the correct speed. So right now I'm just setting the time. So it was 5 seconds and it made sense for the total distance of this elevator. But if you have multiple positions, or we can switch midpoint, that duration is still 5 seconds. So if you have to travel from like here, you decide you want to go back down and you press the button, you're going to go back down, but at a rate of 5 seconds. Now, we could just multiply that by the distance in ratio that we're trying to travel. That would work. But then I'm also realizing that if this elevator was way longer or way shorter, that 5 seconds is going to be slower or faster. So if we want a consistent speed for all our elevators, we probably need to work out what like a way that we can set that in a way that is going to be consistent no matter what position you are in the elevator. And also like so that it can be the same most of the time, no matter how long the elevator is or short. So that for that to work, I'm thinking I need to know the distance to travel rather than the ratio. Like in theory, it shouldn't really matter, I guess, right? If the ratio is 0.5, progress plus equals delta times elevator speed. It's not in the process function though. Which is... But if you need it non-linear, it's trickier. Yeah, delta would be like a handy thing to have, but we're using tweens, so I need to know that time. Because I'm a tween. I'm the tween king. I am a fan of tweens, but yeah, it does. The guy who installed elevators in the underground Antarctic science station did a really sloppy job. Sorted. Yeah, the speed is like a little bit off, guys. Don't worry about it. Can't you just get the distance by using distance 2? I don't even know if I can I need to find out where it's going to. That's the problem. So I need to get access to the curve, right? So you get to access to the curve, the total length of the curve, and then multiply that. A bit of a wonky elevator experience, yeah. Or can I just work it out by saying, I know that it's only going to 0.6, or like the distance traveled is like very short. And so the speed, the ratio of the speed, so I worked out that it's 64 pixels per second. Path.curve get baked length. Oh, thank you. There you go. Get baked length. I'm actually, it's funny you say that because I was looking at the curve docs right now and get baked length. Yeah, convert it yourself to a progress ratio. Essentially, yes. Although mathematically it might be get baked length. Now this is a node 2D, so do we have access to the actual curve? We've got the path follow, but not the path. Let's open this up as a regular. I've got a mix of exports and I guess we can make this not ready. It's fine. It's not that serious. I gotta go to work. I was hoping to finish this before that. Cannot assign value of path 2D to variable start pixel. Yeah, that's alright. Yeah, nah, I won't do that. Path follow 2D dot get parent. I mean, I'm not like an expert, but I'm not like crazy enough to do that. It would work though. Total length, right? Is a float, right? And then you can go path 2D dot get baked points. Was it baked length? Why is it not filling in for me? So annoying. Dot curve, right? Silly get baked length. Get back. And that does just return a float. Returns the total length of the curve based on the catch points. Given enough density. Okay, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. So now, then I have the total length, and you can just multiply the start finish. So the start point, all right, would be equal to total length multiplied by the start ratio, because that can be anywhere. And then the end point is equal to the total length multiplied by the end point, the finish, I guess it's called finish point. I would argue that in this specific case, get parent is fairly safe, because when would the follows parent not be the path? Yeah, that's a fair point. I used to do it all the time. I remember I used to do like get parent dot get parent dot get parent. But you know what? I think that was in a time before like export variables, right? Like, because now that we have like really good support for like exporting a variable and putting it into the inspector, it's really safe to just do that. And I'll be honest, like I'm using onReadies here. I mostly don't do that either. Most of the time I'll just use exports, but for whatever reason, for this particular piece of script, I decided to use onReadies, and I'm just doing that. I always forget to set them though. In the gym for elevators, you would have one to 1 points, and then the next one 3 landings in the middle. Finally, one with 4, where the inner landings are different gaps. Lead would sign that off before integration. Me. Okay, I gotta hurry because I'm meant to start work real soon, so I've got to try and. I don't think I'll be able to get this done in like 5 minutes. Less, actually. You know what? I really got to go. We might have to leave it here, and I'll come back on Friday or tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, I used to only do exports, but I got sick of reference breaking and constantly forgetting to set them. Exactly. I was like, if you watch the streams, it's like, it doesn't work. Oh, I forgot to set the variable. Classic. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll be back later. The question is now, what happens? Because it says something is not right. Please wait while the crash report is going. Anyway, let's just press stop stream and see what happens.